All right. This is good. You know, there's some things that I keep circling back to because they just keep coming up. And regardless of the situation that people are looking to solve, regardless of the problems they're trying to deal with in their business, it keeps circling back to the same things. It really does, right? And there's a core group of things. And one of them is this thing we're discussing today, which is I see this a lot, right? Sell the result, sell the result. If I did a post and said, what are you selling everybody? Tell me, you got to sell the outcome, sell the outcome. I'm like, that's cool until you realize the choices that people have. So if I'm going to sell the outcome and the chiro is going to sell the outcome, and the massage therapist is going to sell the outcome, and the personal trainer is going to sell the outcome, and the personal trainers probably sell outcomes way better than we do. And by we, I'll say physio right now, but the personal trainers do a great job selling outcomes. And who else? And the nutritionist and the acupuncturist, whom I think I already said, and the massage therapist all sell outcomes, and you're selling outcomes. That's not the solution, right? As with everything I've learned over time, everything is part of a process, part of a template, part of a structure, part of a framework. Okay. And it's not, there is no one thing. There is no one thing to do, right? It's like the first phone call sales conversation. There's a framework, right? There are 10 steps that need to be completed on that first phone call. And one of them is your desired outcome, of which we then build a whole story and value conversation around. So there's your takeaway from today. The outcome is just a step in the process that we're going to build a value conversation around. And so when we say they want the outcome, it's the outcome they're buying. I disagree. They want to know how the outcome you deliver is the right fit for them. Because here's something I learned over time, and I've shared this infrequently, so I'm not sure everybody totally gets the context of it. People expect the outcome. People calling healthcare clinics expect the outcome. And you tell me these people that have been calling around and getting treated everywhere, what about them? I'm like, yeah, that's why they keep calling around. They expect the outcome. So selling the outcome is not the solution. To get people to understand how you can help them and if you are the right fit for them, so that they will choose you and choose to arrive, pay, and stay. Selling the outcome is a step in a process to share the value that you can deliver to someone, and then they can therefore choose to see you or not. It's that simple. I like to think about this way too, and this has been a quick explanation at times, right? Sell the outcome, sure, yet, you know, and what I just explained is this in one sentence: sell the outcome, and then you've got to show them. Here's the takeaway. Write this down. Write this down and do this on your calls today. Do this today. I'll guarantee you results today with this. Ask people the outcomes they desire, and then make sure you show them how you fit in the journey to that outcome. That's the missing key, my friends. And the only way you can show them how you fit in that journey is to listen and get their story from them and insert the value, your value of what you can deliver into their story. We are literally done here. We got to keep context of who is in this conversation and what they bring to this conversation. And everybody brings value to this conversation. If you are a clinic that is focused on insurance and getting people's insurance information first, then I would argue no one is choosing you for anything other than the promise around taking their insurance. So we need to be very careful. And I've had this discussion for years and years and years. And I'm not here telling you in-network is bad. I'm here telling you be careful on what you are selling or believe you're selling based on the conversation and the priorities that you tell people things fit in your business. If you bring up insurance before I do, you make insurance the priority and the go-to. I ask people all the time if they run insurance, right? They want to tell me all the great things they sell. And I'm like, but people are choosing you. And again, this isn't a judgment, it's a question. People are choosing you based on the fact you're in network. I believe that the best model of a true business that can show you what people are buying is a clinic that offers to take people's money or use their insurance for their out-of-network benefits. It's not a judgment. It's not anything other than where is the true measure of this? They're the true RCT study in this. You can't control for insurance, right? If everybody in your clinic is contracted and nobody is doing anything other than that, we have one factor there, right? If everybody is choosing your clinic based on insurance and you say, well, look, I got, 90% of the people show up for their first visit, and you have a churn rate, a cancel, no-show, drop-off rate of 20, 30%, you're not selling what they're buying, my friends. And the insurance wasn't good enough. I ask this question all the time, and I'm not bashing on in-network. I just want to get you guys in the mindset of what are people buying here, and is selling the result good enough? Because I've made the biggest impact at in-network clinics with the front desk training system. Because why? Because we approach it with this. I want to make sure people know what they're buying, whether it's $5 or whether it's $150. I've made greater impacts with people's churn rate than anything else, right? And so the same approach of moving upstream and going, are people buying results? Are they just buying insurance coverage? And that's what happens in the in-network clinics. They get so focused on their insurance, and then they just schedule people based on insurance, and people show up in 2 or 3 visits, they drop off, and literally they're saying, wasn't what I expected, not happy. And I'm like, but if it was always about being in network, shouldn't everybody complete a plan of care at an in-network clinic? Right? So again, this is an example of, because I get the same results at in-network clinics as out-of-network clinics with this mindset of, is it enough to sell the outcome? And what is the framework, right, for managing this conversation on a first phone call so that people will arrive, pay, and then stay regardless? Pay, it doesn't say pay you cash. It doesn't say pay you out of network. It says pay. I don't care how you get paid. Are you getting paid for each visit? Arrive, pay, and stay. So again, this is not an anti-in-network discussion. It's an example of how, when we get away from this focus of how can we come along in this journey and help you to your desired outcomes, that we have greater drop-offs, greater cancels, greater no-shows. So again, this selling the outcome, it doesn't work in cash-based clinics either. Just got done with some people last week, very frustrated with their sales process. His first comment from them was, but I guarantee results. I'm like, but I guarantee results, and I charge $200 a visit, and people aren't scheduling. I'm like, everybody guarantees results. That's $75 a visit, right? The personal trainer, the massage therapist. Why the hell should they choose you? So again, it doesn't matter the payment model here, people. There's a process to be followed, and cost is part of it. Cost is part of the value equation. Go back and watch my old videos. We must give people their cost, and it's part of the process after we sell them and have a discussion and conversation around where do we fit in their journey to their desired outcome. There's your big takeaway for today. So selling the outcome is not enough. Selling the outcome is part of a process and part of a conversation to get people to understand that, yes, we can help you. Yes, we've helped people just like you, and this is what it looks like, right? So as they're talking, yes, we can do that. Yes, we can do that. Let me tell you what the first visit looks like here, right? Let me tell you how that fits with what you want in your desired outcome. So we got to map this journey out. By the way, short, I'm not talking about giving them a plan of care. I'm talking about the first phone call. The plan of care is that mapped out journey. And guess what? That's part of the promise on the first phone call of what you will receive during your evaluation to show you what? Your journey to your desired outcome. And guess who's going to come alongside you and guide you through that? The person taking you through the plan of care. So this first step in the sales process is to get those desired outcomes, assure these people that we are the right fit based on this conversation and this 10-point framework. And then we move them along in their journey with us to the next step, to the expert provider that will map it out for them. I cannot emphasize enough how telling people what's going to happen when they arrive will drive your conversion rate. Your first visit arrival will drive your scheduled and agreed upon plans of care. That's the stay part. If somewhere in the process you give someone a brief description of what's going to happen and we'll give you a plan is written in there, and you don't stop and pause and make that the last thing they hear, then you're not understanding this whole process. The most important thing, this research proven, go back, I've said this a million times in a million other videos. People want an expert who will tell them their diagnosis, tell them what's wrong, and give them a plan. And yet 99% of the time, well, actually, sorry, 95% of the time, nobody tells me when I do the secret callers what's going to happen on the first visit, let alone do they stop and emphasize that you will sit down with your provider, right? Dr. Jane Doe at the end, and she will actually give you a map back to, right, lifting overhead at the gym and being able to sleep through the night, their desired outcomes, right? We're part of that journey. If you guys just take those points I made, write that down and just put it down in an order that you think that discussion should be had on the first phone call, you will convert more people starting the second you start using it. I guarantee it. If you do that and you want me to look at it, ping me, private message me. I'll look at it for you. Take those main points I just made in the last 15 minutes. Go, okay, I got to know their goals. I got to fill them in on the journey with us. I got to make sure they know that they'll get that journey with us when they arrive. Got to make sure they know their cost in here when they'll get their cost. I got to make sure they know how we're the best fit for them, right? You're freaking 51% of the way there. You're probably 75% of the way there. That's what's going to drive arrival rate. Remember, it's arrive, pay, and stay. Nobody can pay and stay if they don't arrive for their first visit. So I tend to lean on the first visit a little harder. The stay then incorporates the next arrival, next arrival, next arrival. And then I'll jump ahead and I'm going to stop, because then what gets people to keep coming back is the reminder of the journey they're on with you to their desired outcome. There's two things you need to map out. First, phone call to arrival. Then you need to map out evaluation to completed course of care. You need to map out the rules of engagement. That is the conversations and all the steps that must happen along the way. And those are non-negotiable in your business. I never tell anybody how to treat, never tell anybody how many visits to schedule, but Lord knows I tell them how to have every single conversation and how to share that information along that journey. That will increase your arrivals with people paying and then people staying. Follow this process, go back, map it out. If you guys want to see my process, message me. Most of you guys have it. Yet, if you want to see the framework I'm talking about, you can message me and I'm happy to share it with you. I give it to people every day, and it'll mean more to you now with this context. If you take this information, start using it, it will return an ROI. If you make the phone call about the money, then people are choosing you for price. That's called a commodity. If you do what I just said, people will choose you because you are an expert, and experts demand and get paid more money. It's that simple, right? You're making yourself the commodity 99% of the time. Had this conversation many times last week. All patients care about is insurance. And then I do secret callers, and I don't tell people how I want to pay until they ask me. 85%, 90% of the secret callers I do, people ask me what insurance I want to use. I'm like, who just made that about insurance? Cool. All right. Cheers all.